I don't know how you feel about this. Some people really, really like it. Some people really hate it and think it's a bad thing. But man, I love TikTok. It's like an app on your phone and you watch video after video. And like I said, some people think that people are spying on us and we need to delete it. Some people spend hours on there. And I'm gonna be honest, I can't get enough. Like, it's very addicting. And I just find myself making TikToks and watching TikToks. It's a lot of fun. And one goal that you have when you have a TikTok is to go viral. And basically get millions of people to watch your TikToks. And recently, that happened to me. Over Christmas break, my wife and I, we didn't travel anywhere. And what we did was we have this secret room above my garage, but it doesn't have a secret door. And so I thought to myself, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make a secret door. So over the holidays, I went to Lowe's, I bought some wood. I made myself this secret bookshelf, and it literally just looks like a closet, except you can open it up and it leads to this awesome, incredible secret room. And so I went to TikTok and I recorded this video, and it was really, really funny. There was this sound that you can put over it. And as I'm recording the TikTok, it says, nobody's going to know. And then someone argues with him. He's like, man, they're going to know. And he's like, no one's going to know. And I record the whole room. And then I open the closet door and it leads you into the secret room. And so I did that. I posted it. And the next day, I logged on that morning and I had like 5,000 views. I was like, whoa, this is really cool. And so I get off. I got back on at like lunchtime. It's like 20,000 views. I'm like, oh man, this is incredible. And so the more that time goes on, in fact, I just checked it right before I walked in here. I think that I'm up to like 465,000 views. I have like 500 comments on this stuff. And it blew up. I mean, my friends are texting me like, man, I just saw your TikTok and it was really, really cool. Except it wasn't really cool, all right? No one tells you these two things when you go viral, when your internet video blows up. Number one is that notifications are super annoying. I had to cut off my phone because it was just like bing, 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 bing. And every time I get on, I can't even see the notifications because more are just constantly popping up. And I don't like that. That was stressing me out. And so I just had to sit it and leave it there because my notifications were just blowing up. And number two is, they don't tell you about this. People are super mean. Like, it's like they forget that I am a person. And so everyone's commenting on this video and they're just being rude to me. They're like, wow, I can't believe you showed us your secret room. Oh, you're an idiot. Oh man, you're so dumb. Oh, that room looks so bad. I would do it this way. I would do it that way. And they're just super, super rude to me. And so I guess the whole point of that story is, don't go viral on TikTok. It's not as cool as you think. I want to tell you a story this morning about a guy that got really, really famous, got really popular, and people were kind of rude to him as well. If you got your Bibles, I'm going to be in Luke chapter 19, and I'm going to start at verse 1. It says this, it says, Jesus entered Jericho and made his way through the town. There was a man there named Zacchaeus. He was the chief tax collector in the region, and he had become very rich. He tried to get a look at Jesus, but he was too short to see over the crowd. So he ran ahead. He climbed a sycamore fig tree beside the road, for Jesus was going to pass that way. And so here we have a guy named Zacchaeus, and he is a tax collector. Now, when we think of a tax collector, we might think of like H&R Block, but back in Jesus' day, to collect taxes was not a good thing. A lot of times they would cheat you, they would scam you, they would say you owed this much money when really you only owed this much money, and you couldn't really call HR and report it because you just had to do what they said. And so these tax collectors, they don't have a good reputation. In fact, a lot of people don't like them. But this guy Zacchaeus, he is a chief tax collector. He is like the tax collector of tax collectors. I mean, this guy is popular because he is not very popular. Like, people hate him. He has a bad reputation. He is sleazy. No one likes this guy, Zacchaeus. But he hears about this guy named Jesus passing through town. He's a short guy, and so he climbs this tree. He just wants to get a glimpse of what this Jesus guy is all about. In verse 5, it says this. When Jesus came by, he looked up at Zacchaeus and he called him by name. Zacchaeus, he said, quick, come down. I must be a guest in your home today. Zacchaeus quickly climbed down and took Jesus to his house in great excitement and joy. But the people were displeased. He has gone to be the guest of a notorious sinner, they grumbled. I want you to kind of put your brain and imagine you being in Zacchaeus' shoes. I mean, you're this guy, you don't have a good reputation, people don't like you, you are kind of a bad dude, and you hear this holy teacher's coming through town, and so you climb this tree just to get a look of who this guy is and what he's all about. And in the middle of looking, in the middle of him passing, he looks at you and he says, Zacchaeus, come down. I have to go to your house. I have to hang out with you. I have to eat dinner and be a guest at your house. Imagine how excited Zacchaeus must feel. In fact, we see it in the text. He gets down and he has so much joy. He's so excited that Jesus, this guy who feels like Jesus is far away from him. He's way up here and Zacchaeus is way down here. Jesus wants to hang out with him. I mean, imagine how that must have felt. And now, I want you to imagine and put yourself in the shoes of all the other people, right? Like the people that know Jesus and the people that know Zacchaeus, right? They're like, Jesus, you don't want to hang out with me? I'm the one that has always got it right. I'm the one that's got my stuff together. Zacchaeus, you don't really know him. You don't know what he's done. You don't know what he's all about. Zacchaeus, man, he is a bad guy. You might want to reconsider your actions a little bit. Why don't you hang out with us? Why don't you hang out with my crew? Why are you going to hang out with that scumbag, that sleazy Connors, that guy that has robbed so many people in this community? Why are you hanging out with him? And meanwhile, while that's happening, look at in verse 8, it says, meanwhile, Zacchaeus stood before the Lord and said, I will give half my wealth to the poor. And if I have cheated anyone on their taxes, I will give them back 4 times as much. You know, I don't know what that conversation looked like. I don't know, and I don't think the Bible tells us what Jesus and what Zacchaeus actually talked about. But I have a feeling they didn't talk about him being a tax collector at all. I mean, have you ever been around like a goody two-shoe, you know? And you aren't the best, but when you hang out with them, they make you want to be better. And so you got the worst person, the chief tax collector, hanging out with the Son of God. Man, Jesus just rubs off on this guy. And he says, man, I'm gonna make things right. I'm gonna give half my wealth to the poor. I'm gonna give back to the people that I have cheated up to 4 times as much. And this is what Jesus says. He says, salvation has come to this house today, for this man has shown himself to be a true son of Abraham. And then in verse 10 it says this. It says, for the Son of Man came to seek and save those who are lost. And notice what Jesus didn't say. He didn't say, okay, Zacchaeus, you prove yourself. You work hard and maybe over time, maybe you'll get enough credibility and maybe we'll start to trust you. Maybe we'll accept you in and maybe you can get right with God. No, Jesus says, listen, immediately, because you have repented, immediately you are made right with God just like that, just through Jesus. Man, you can be a true son of Abraham. And then Jesus says the thing that I am absolutely in love with. He says, for the Son of Man came to seek and save those who are lost. You know, I'm planting a church. We are planting a church in Goldsboro, North Carolina. And at Canvas Church, that's our mission. I mean, we want to help people discover Jesus. I know for a fact that that's New Life. That's what they're all about. They are trying to help people who are far away from God. Jesus came to seek and save the lost. That is what we're trying to do. That is what New Life is trying to do. And so I want to tell you 3 things this morning. And then I want to ask you a question. Number one, I want to warn you or tell you, inform you that, number one, man, lost people, they're watching you. Just like Zacchaeus climbed a tree and he's looking at Jesus. He just wants to get a glimpse of this guy named Jesus. There are lost people out there. There are people out there that are far away from God and they are watching you. They're watching us as a church. They see the hope we have. They see this change in our life. And whether they admit it or not, they're interested. And they're looking from afar and they're like, man, I kind of want to see what that's all about. And so I would encourage you, man, be on guard. Be above reproach. Live your life in such a way knowing that there are lost people out there and they're observing you and they're watching you. And so lost people are watching. Number two, religious people are watching. There are religious people in Jesus' day. And you know what they did when he started hanging out with Zacchaeus? He got upset. They got upset. They said, who is this guy? Why is he hanging out with these people? Listen, when you really hang out with lost people, when you really start to love on people who are far away from God, I'm letting you know, religious people are going to get upset. When you go to where lost people are, you can expect pushback. If they gave pushback to Jesus, the Son of God, you can definitely expect some pushback from the religious community when you go and you find people who are lost. And so lost people are watching, religious people are watching. But then number three, and I think this is the most important thing, is Jesus is watching. Like out of all those people, Jesus is watching. And he came to seek and save those who are lost. And so I think he's the one that matters the most. And so my question to you this morning, and this applies for the rest of your day, for the rest of your week, really for the rest of this year. Who is your Zacchaeus? Who is the person that you know that no one likes? You're like, man, no one can stand this guy. He has a terrible reputation. Everyone, they can't stand him. But you know what? I'm going to invest in this person. I'm going to call this person out. I'm going to call him up. I'm going to invite him to dinner. I'm going to invite him over to my house. I am going to pour myself out. And I'm going to love this person. And whether we talk about what they're going through or not, just my goodness, just the light that I've been given from God through Jesus is going to rub off on this person. And whether it happens that day or whether it happens 5 years from now, eventually we are going to get this person to know who Jesus is. Who is your Zacchaeus? You know, I'm here at New Life right now, and I just want to thank you guys. Thank you so much for what you have done. New Life supports Canvas Church. You support the work that we're doing in Goldsboro, and we couldn't do what we're doing without you. We couldn't reach people like Zacchaeus. We couldn't reach lost people without you and without your generosity, without this congregation. And so I would encourage you this morning. Lost people are watching you. Religious people are watching you. Jesus is watching you. Who are you going to invest into today?